been a long journey.
Not in the saddle, but in the mind.
All our journeys are in the mind.
In my mind. I wish I never left the farm. Forgive me for all of my faults, all of my failings. No regrets.
No regrets. And yet, every regret.
Well, everyone, we are here with the very talented Catherine Winnick, also known as Lagatha from the hit show Vikings on the History Channel. Thank you for being here today.
Thank you for having me.
Well, I'm a huge fan of the show and of your character. How would you describe Lagatha to people who haven't seen the show?
She is a force to be reckoned with. She's definitely very fierce. And she's also feminine and a woman and strong in her own way. And I think a lot of people relate to her in different cultures and different ethnicities and in different time periods. I think that's why people really identify with her.
I think that your character has already become kind of a legend. Not only do men adore her, but I think women look up to her as a role model for strength.
Yeah, it's such an amazing character to play just because it is so versed. Obviously, I play a warrior, a shield maiden, but also a young mother and now in a position of strength as being an earl and having all that stripped away from me and now trying to find the strength within my own self. And I think that's where she is in season 4B. She definitely has to rely on herself more than she ever has in the past.
Totally. Well, I know that you actually have 2 black belts and you're even a licensed bodyguard. So I'm guessing that these fight scenes come pretty naturally to you.
Yeah, I grew up playing or training martial arts at the age of 7. So I got my first black belt when I was 13. Started my own martial arts school at 16 and had 3 by the time I was 21. So martial arts was a big part of my upbringing. I started teaching actors martial arts in movie sets before I was an actor. And my dream was always to find a role that I can really combine both my loves, the love of martial arts and the action side of it, but also storytelling and great writing and great characters and really diverse, complicated, rich roles. And I think Lagertha is definitely one of my favorite roles I've ever played, and definitely an honor to be on Vikings, getting a chance to play here.
That's very cool. And that definitely would fit all of that. Well, I wanted to ask you, what was your favorite scene that you've shot so far?
I would say shooting a scene with the seer is always interesting, just because you're working with John Kavanagh, who's a great Irish actor, and he is in prosthetics for good almost 3 hours. So his whole face is covered, and the only part of his face that moves that is live is really just his mouth. So you're really acting to his mouth. But it's really inspiring just to work with him, because he brings so much in his voice and his persona just in what you get from him. And I don't know if you know the tradition of when you go see the seer at the end of your interaction with him, he gives you his hand and you're supposed to lick it from top to bottom. And that is something that we completely improvised the very first time we shot with the seer. And I remember when Lagertha did it, we weren't really prepared for it. And after 2-3 hours of prosthetics and going into the special effects makeup, they did makeup on his hands, and it was full of all these latex stuff and, crazy tasting things, and obviously they weren't prepared for me to lick it, but had to do that, and had to do it probably about 10 times because of the different angles in the tapes. But that stuck, and I still have that taste in my mouth. So I don't know if that's my favorite scene. Maybe that's not the right word, but it's definitely memorable.
That definitely was. And I know it's actually been a huge buzz on social media as well. So I have some questions about Lagertha's character. Sure. What do you think stopped her from killing Aslog in the show? Because it's such a kill or be killed sort of mentality in the Viking world. And
Lagertha is a very moral character. She definitely trusts in the gods and her belief system. And I think she was more upset with Ragnar making the choice of putting her in a position where he wanted her to live with this other woman who now was in season 2 was impregnated by his son. So I think she was more hurt, and definitely her sense of pride didn't allow her to be ever the second fiddle or the second wife. So she had no choice but to leave. And I don't think it was necessarily a personal threat with Aslog, but definitely in season 4 and what you're about to see, and how she is queen now and how she's ruling Kattegat and how she's not necessarily ruling properly, and it's not where it should be. Kattegat is her home, and that's her sense of family, and it's pretty heartbreaking for Lagertha to see it so run down and so poorly managed. And I think it leaves her with no choice but to do something about it.
Well, that's actually a good segue because your son, Björn, in the show is a very brave character. Do you think that Lagertha wants him to become the Viking King?
Lagertha loves Björn. He obviously helped raise him to be Björn Ironside and come into his own and be a strong warrior in his own right. Does she want him to be king? Of course she wants the best for him. But she is not one that's ever going to force anything on anyone. He has his own ambitions, and one of the big things that he wanted to do was explore different lands. So Alexander Ludwig, who plays Björn Ironside, who plays him fantastically, ends up going to the Mediterranean in season 4B. So you are going to see a different landscape, you're going to see different storylines, you're going to see him evolve as a character and really taking the forefront and being a leading man alongside with Ragnar and the other sons of Ragnar. So she won't necessarily push that on him, but is maybe grooming him for the future.
That's great. Well, actually, I know that you have some new cast joining us in season 5. Can you tell us a bit about what's to come?
Yeah, we got a phenomenal new actor not new actor, new character that joined our cast. And Jonathan Rhys-Meyers plays a Bishop Heckmond, who is not only a member of the church, but also a strong warrior. And Lagertha has a lot of scenes with him, and he is phenomenal to work with and very rich and as an actor and very giving. And just a lovely, lovely person. And talented and a lovely human being. So I'm excited for you guys to see that. We also have some major epic scenes coming up, and we shoot some of the scenes in Iceland. So you will see Iceland this year in season 5.
Wow. Well, and I know you guys have actually been shooting in Ireland for most of season 5. Is that right?
We have shot in Ireland. We also shot in, I don't even know if I can say where else I shot. We shot in different parts of Europe as well. That is a completely different landscape. But our core crew members and our core sets are based in Ireland, yes, outside of Dublin.
Fantastic. Well, Catherine, I wanted to wish you the best with all of your success. It looks like you're having a lot of fun doing it, and I'm so happy for you.
Aw, thanks, Kimberly.
And everybody, make sure that you don't miss the next season of the show Vikings on the History Channel. Thanks again for joining us. Hi, you're watching The Red Booth Show, and I'm your host, Kimberly Q. On tonight's episode, I have Peter Stormare and Tracy Lords from the new show Swedish Dicks. So, come and join us.
Well, well, well. If it isn't Igmar the Swede. I see you've been shopping for extremely gay cardigans at H&M. Jane McKinney, founder and CEO of McKinney Enterprises, the #1 investigative firm in all of Los Angeles.
I'm
Axel, born and raised in the south of Sweden, in an area called Skåne. Did I pronounce that correctly?
Well, it was perfect, actually.
Up until 3 days ago, you were a somewhat successful DJ who, in a moment of existential crisis, decided to join the detective game.
How did you...
As I told you, I'm Jane McKinney, the #1 investigator in all of Los Angeles. I'm a pro, not like Igmar here, who sucks at everything.
Oh. He doesn't suck at everything. He doesn't suck at anything. Do you suck at anything?
Sluta nu.
Vadå?
Vad fan håller du på med?
Jag försöker hjälpa dig.
Jag behöver ingen hjälp.
Look at this. Little Swedish ladies in a little Swedish lady fight.
Hey, I would love to stick around and smell that aftershave you're wearing, but I need to teach this guy how to shoot.
You teach? Mr. Lone Wolf? That's funny.
Tell you what, give me 1 week and I'll have him shooting much better than one of your boy toys. Are we on?
Are Swedish fish from Sweden?
Well, actually, Swedish fish don't come from Sweden. And
Susanne.
You, my friend, are as screwed as a piece of IKEA furniture.
Hi, Peter. Hi, Tracy. Thanks so much for being on The Red Booth Show.
Hi, Kimberly.
How's it going this morning?
Good,
great.
good. We're not sitting in your red booth, though.
No.
I know, that's too bad. We'll have to do that another time.
Yes, absolutely.
Well, everyone, I am here with Peter Stormare and Tracy Lords from the new show Swedish Dicks, which just premiered on August 2nd on Pop TV. And I have to say, it's such an honor to be here with you guys. You've both been in so many TV shows and movies, and it's just so cool. Peter, you are not only the star of the show, but you actually also wrote and created the show. And I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to create Swedish Dicks?
Mainly the title Dick. And to team up with a younger DJ from Sweden, which is such an export from Sweden. And Swedish Dicks was a catchy name, and I always loved the private detective. I have a couple of friends. And I know stunt people that has moved away from stunts, being injured and being too old and moving into the private detective field. And I thought it would be cool with two people coming from abroad, looking at this beautiful country, but with a couple of different eyes, and to see the beauty of this country instead of all the complaints. And I see this country being a beautiful, beautiful country with diversity and beautiful people also out here in Los Angeles. So that was the premises for the show, to show something else in a half-hour comedy.
Well, that's amazing. And actually, that's pretty funny because I can't imagine that you would have actually known stuntmen that had transitioned over into being detectives. That's pretty funny. And actually, you are Swedish, and you play a Swedish character in the show, and you speak Swedish, so that must be a lot of fun, too.
Yeah, it's a secret weapon in front of somebody. We can talk, look at his tie. I don't trust this guy. Well, maybe he has a big wallet. I don't know. I don't trust his tie. And he says, what the heck are you talking about, guy? Now I have to feed the meter, with some quarters. Okay. So it's a secret language now and then.
Well, I'm sure that comes in very handy. And actually, Tracy, I wanted to ask you, what inspired you to want to play the character of Jane McKinney in this show?
Well, Peter sent me the script, and it came with a really nice letter, and he just said that I don't see anybody playing this role but you have to do this. And I looked at the title and I laughed and I thought, what in the world is this? And I read it and I just thought it was incredible. Jane McKinney she's a boss lady. She's tough as nails. She says exactly what she thinks. She runs what she thinks is the greatest detective agency agency in the world. And when Peter opens up his little rinky-dink shop across the street, at first I'm amused by him. I just think, look at this fool, and he was good entertainment. And then he starts to, infringe on my business, and he starts to actually do well for himself, and he gets some heat, and then they battle, and it's been a fun game of sort of cat and mouse.
Well, actually, I was wondering, was it hard for you to keep a straight face during your confrontation scene at the shooting range?
I say some of the most outrageous things in the entire show. And yes, it is really difficult sometimes not to just start laughing. I look at the pages that I'm going to shoot sometime in the morning, and I'm just like, how am I going to do this? What am I going to do? But you can catch us on Wednesday nights on Pop TV, and you can find your channel at poptv.com, and I hope you'll check us out.
Yeah, and for me it was important to have diversity and have strong women on the show, because if you see women on half-hour comedy, they usually dits are just, outrageously boring. But here I wanted a daughter, African American. I wanted a girl from Asia to be running the business more or less for me, and I wanted a protagonist that was a female. Usually it's a man-to-man thing. But I wanted a woman. I wanted women to surround me, because not just do they have too few parts to play in our business, but also it's great for the show to show diversity and the beautiful side of this country that I admire and look up to.
That's right, and obviously the wonderful city of Los Angeles.
Yeah.
And by the way, do you think that Ingmar and Jane are ever going to work together, or are they always going to be arch nemesis?
Well,
I think they will work together privately. Privately, behind the facade, they will find something really.
they're hunting.
We're bound to hunt together.
Yeah, I think so. You can't tell if they're going to fall in love or they're going to kill each other. Maybe both.
Yeah.
Well, that's typical.
Yeah.
All right, well, you've given us a lot of clues about what we have to look forward to in season 1. Have you started working on season 2 yet as well?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yep.
We're working on season 2 as we speak, and hopefully we can continue into season 3, because we're concentrating on these main characters, 6 main characters, and they're going to continue hopefully into season 3, and we don't expand the family too big.
Well, that's wonderful. I've actually watched a few of the episodes, and I think that they're so funny, and I hope everybody tunes in to watch it on Pop TV. Don't miss Swedish Dicks. And I have one more question before you guys go. I always ask my guests, what sort of advice do you have for other aspiring actors?
Don't.
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 Well, there you have it there.
Well, okay. Well, by the way, Tracy, I just have to say I always wear pinup girl clothing on my show, and I love your new clothing collab with them. It's so awesome.
Thank you so much.
Well, thank you so much for being on the Red Booth Show. It's been really great talking with you guys.
Thank you.
Have a great day.
You too.
Bye.
Thank you, Kimberly.
Well, thanks for watching my interview with Peter Stormare and Tracy Lords on the new show Swedish Dicks. You can always watch the Red Booth Show every Saturday night at midnight to get to know actors, musicians, and other artists in the entertainment industry. Thanks for watching.